Here we have Ray Johnson, RM3, U.S. Navy vet, survivor of the sinking of the USS Princeton. Herbert Ickles, Sergeant, USMC, World War II vet. Mel Procody, Radioman-Chief, U.S. Navy, retired. Ray likes to tell the story when he was abandoning ship on the USS Princeton. He was shimmying down the rope, and his foot touched the water, and it was very cold, and he didn't like it. And so he started to go back up the rope, but there was plenty of other guys trying to abandon ship. So needless to say, he didn't get very far, as he was eventually forced into the water by just the sheer volume of people coming down the rope after him. So this is kind of his story. At the time of this video, he's 91 years old, and he's very active. And so my dad, Mel Procody, put this together for him at Liberty Ridge Retirement Facility in Lynchburg, Virginia. The USS Princeton was part of a group of ships called the Nine Sisters. Many of them started off as light cruisers and became aircraft carriers. Some of the Nine Sisters, well, the Nine Sisters included the Independence, Princeton, Ballywood, Cowpens, Monterey, Langley, Cobalt, Bataan, San Jacinto. Hopefully I pronounced that correctly. I apologize if I didn't. And the Independence received 8 battle stars. The Princeton received 9 battle stars. The Ballywood received 12 battle stars. Cowpens 12 battle stars. Monterey received 11 battle stars. Langley 9 battle stars. Cobalt 9 battle stars. Bataan 6 battle stars. And the San Jacinto 5 battle stars. So the USS Tallahassee keel was laid in 1941, and it became the USS Princeton when it was converted to CV-23. The flight deck was made from Douglas fir installed over a steel frame, and it saved weight on the top side, and the planks were easily replaced. That's why they were wood back then. The USS Princeton CV-23 was launched on October 18, 1942. And here we have a view of the stern. The Princeton's radio call was NFDC and voice call was Hatchet. In March of 43, the Princeton was undergoing naval engineering acceptance tests, and it was in the Philadelphia Naval Shipyard on the Delaware River in February of 1940. Some of the aircraft on the ship was VF-23 fighter aircraft of F-4F Wildcats, also Douglas dive bombers of VT-23. Here we see them launching a Dauntless. Air Group 23 in March of 1944. Here we are arming Dauntless rear guns. They're 30 caliber flexible Browning machine guns. VT-23 TBM-1 Avenger. TBM catapulted off. Note the ship's anti-aircraft. Catapulting was relatively new. Landing signal officer brings the TBM Avenger in for landing. Some landings are hard, some are not so hard. In May 1944, Air Group 27 replaced Air Group 23 in the newer F6, F5 Hellcats, and the TBM-1Cs were the new aircraft, and the SBD Dauntless were removed from carriers and moved to shore-based fields. The F6F is revving up to launch, and the TBMs were a large part of the carrier's operations. There was crash landings. F6F might have had battle damage. TBM torpedo uploaded. The Princeton here rolling in heavy seas. The aircraft had to be lashed down in anticipation of the high winds. And in early October, the Princeton takes white water over the bow. Now, The Princeton was hit with a Japanese D4Y1 Chudy dive bomber on October 24th at 9:38 a.m. Of the bombs dropped, one missed and one 550-pound bomb struck the flight deck left of center between the aircraft elevators. And believe it or not, that one bomb ended up sinking the USS Princeton. After the bomb went through the flight deck, it ripped fuel lines open and went through the hangar deck, which was steel, before detonating. And when it did detonate, all the fuel that was being spilled out from the cut lines caught fire. Soon the aircraft in the hangar deck caught fire. Aircraft on the flight deck caught fire. It was just a total nightmare. So as the crew was fighting old fires and new fires, and it just spread throughout the ship, Task Group Commander dispatched the Birmingham CL-62, the Reno CL-96, and 4 destroyers, the Morrison DD-560, Gatling DD-671, Cassin-Young DD-793, and the Irwin DD-794. And they were tasked to screen against any surprise attacks. So what really did the Princeton was the detonation of 4 100-pound bombs. That killed the 25-man firefighting party and blew off the carrier's stern. Of the remaining 25 to 30 on the Princeton, all received wounds from falling debris. The Birmingham pushed off about 15 feet on the starboard side, and it was riddled with fragments, and it killed 233 people and seriously wounded 211. The Birmingham, Gatling, and Princeton with their stern blown off. Amazingly, Princeton remains on an even keel in trim. Of the 1,570 crew, 209 died, 552 were wounded, and 4 were missing. 1,357 crewmen survived and were rescued. The Irwin pulled 646 people out of the sea. One of them was Johnson. Irwin attempts to torpedo the Princeton without success. It fired 2 torpedoes, and they just went wild. The USS Cassin-Young picked up 300-some survivors. Gatling picked up more than 200. Morrison rescued 300 or 400. And the Reno rescued an unknown number of survivors. Here's the USS Princeton's wartime history. Here's a map of the Pacific Theater of Operations. And here are the 9 battle stars that the USS Princeton received. And here is a 19-year-old radioman 3rd class Ray Johnson. And Ray is 91 years old at the time of this presentation, and he's in good spirits. And his duty wasn't over. He actually had to go back to war after he received 30 days off from surviving from his ship being sunk. So that's how it was in World War II, and I thank you for your time.